And with that said, I would love to turn it over to Mich.
Let's set the stage. So Mich came in the business like almost
September.
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And
She lives
she
in
went
Canada.
district pretty quick. Yeah, lives in Vancouver, Canada, jumps in like ice. I saw her literally breaking ice to jump in an ice cold plunge the other day. Like, so kind of different human being in the best way. But Mich and I have bonded too, because I'm like, okay, we think alike, and she has a little type A in her and all these different things.
They both recently finished Ironmans.
We did Ironman's, corporate background and all the things. And she's actually been we've been sending each other accountability and journal that we've been doing. And she's been like, her level of activity is at
insane.
Such a high level. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how are you doing this? I'm like, are you being intentional? And she's like, yeah. So that's been a big part of it. Like, I'm not just type A, like, boom, reach out. Like, she's being intentional with it too. And so I'm looking at this, and she's made a system out of it. And organizations, if you want to build something big, you need to systematize it. Like, it can't be just random and entrepreneurial the whole way through. So she has this whole system fleshed out, and I'm looking at this, and like, this is making going like RVP inevitable. Like, the amount of activity, it's not like, I hope to go RVP, or it would be awesome if I did, or I hope I kind of get lucky and like someone awesome joins my team. It's just like, no, I'm going to do the activity, and she's making success inevitable, which we've heard. And so many people have asked her like what she's doing. So we were like, hey, would you share? And she's like, of course I will. And of course, asking like, how long do I have? Okay, can I present something? This, that's. We're like, yeah, whatever you want, present. So happy for you to share, Mich. We got our notes out. This is definitely a note-taking one. And thank you for sharing.
Awesome. Thank you. And I really appreciate that warm introduction. So I definitely am driven by pain, as Heather was saying. And in my mind, there's no other option than to go to the top. Like, there's no option B. And I know the pain of actually not doing the work is going to be larger than getting those no's, or getting rejected, or getting negative in my head. Like, to me, like Sandy always says, mindset is everything. And if you prime your mind every single day to get it into a space of positivity, then the negative stuff that is going to come your way, like, life is just going to happen. My life is in shambles right now, like absolute shambles. You can see moving boxes in the back. Like, I have no idea where I'm living in a month, but that pain drives me. And like Heather was saying, I can lean into Arbonne through these times of uncertainty in my life, or I can lean out. And I had a very honest conversation with myself last night. And even though times are very tough, I am leaning in. Arbonne is going to be that one constant in my life. And I just appreciate this community so much. So I'm extremely happy to share. I'm a massive corporate world chick. I'm going to share my screen. I have created a PowerPoint presentation. It's not as great as Wade's, very simple, but this is just visually how I like to teach. Wade, I can share? That's fine.
Oh yeah, let's see. I think so. You might have to be the host. If you go to share, does it work?
No.
Okay.
Here, make host.
Make host. Welcome, host.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my entire screen. Okay, so let me just get rid of this thing. And guys, it's so funny. Like, all I did in my corporate job was present. Like, all I did was create PowerPoint presentations and present. And I was never nervous because I was so comfortable. I'm so nervous right now because it's like so new to me. I love it. I love like the challenge and everything. Okay, so what I have done the past, I want to say 2 weeks to get myself into massive, massive momentum. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want any no to stop me. I have so many people in my pipeline, but like Wade said, very intentional, but so many people in my pipeline that one no has zero effect on me because there's so many other people that I need to get in contact with that I can't even focus on the no. So number one for me, everything is about mindset. So what I did was I got extremely clear on my vision. This year created a massive vision board. It's everywhere in my condo, and that's all I see. And then, of course, understand what your pain points are. And if you don't do the work, you obviously are not going to get to the next level. And what is that going to cause you? 2 platforms that I'm going to talk about today that I have leveraged is Instagram. And I don't have a big follower. Like Mich has a massive following. I have about 2,500 followers, but I am connecting with every single one of them on a very authentic level. So I'll share out what that looks like. Also, I found this export follower tool that I'm going to share, and I took screenshots so I can send out this presentation after, and people can just follow my screenshots. The third platform is LinkedIn. So being in the corporate world, I have a bunch of connections, and again, one by one, authentically, and spending the time to go over their profile and look to see what I can actually compliment them on to make it about them is something that I am leveraging. Okay, so this is my Instagram export tool. If you go to Google, and I know a bunch of people have reached out, so that's why I wanted to do this screenshot. You type in Instagram export tool, you'll see it right here, IG follower export tool. Just click on that, add it to your Chrome. And what this is going to do is it's literally going to export every single follower you have. It's going to take time, guys. Like I think this took about 3 hours to upload, but just let it run. And then what happens is once you add it to your, I forget what this thing is called. Oh, your extension, add it to your extension. Then you're going to see it pop up in your little sidebar up here. It looks like this little Lego tool. And from there, you just say IG follower export tool, click on that. Then it'll take you to something that looks like this. So all of your followers are going to be exported onto somewhat like an Excel spreadsheet. And then if you actually want it in Excel, click on Save as Excel, and that will export out all of your followers into a really nice Excel spreadsheet. And what I am doing, as you can see here, I'm keeping it quite simple, but going through every single individual, okay? And this is like Heather was saying, be mindful of your time, right? Put focus time in your calendar for, call it 30 minutes, and just have these intentional reach outs with people on your Instagram who follow you. So I make a note here, this individual, I'm obviously not going to reach out to them because they're already on our 30 days healthy living challenge with Mich. The next ones, there's just weird pages, so I didn't even write anything. And then I just do small talk with people. And I can show you what that looks like. I have an example, but it's very intentional to the individual and it's catered to them. So I take a second to look at their profile. Let's say they're into cold plunging, or let's say they're into reading, or let's say they're a mom. I make sure I compliment them on something that is specific to their life. Obviously, I don't reach out to anyone in Arbonne. They're all in red. So this is an example of 2 reach outs I've done for, actually, I'm going to go to Instagram first, Instagram. So I have one example. She actually is on our team today. So she's fine with me sharing this out. So this was complete random. Her and I went to a cold plunge event together. And I just said, hi, Esperanza, so nice to connect with you. I believe we were both at the same cold plunge crew event. I love your Insta. It looks like you are very active and health forward, very similar to myself. Love connecting with like-minded individuals. Nothing about Arbonne. I'm just opening up the conversation to see what she says back. She goes, oh, thank you for reaching out. So sweet of you. I'm also very excited to meet with like-minded individuals. One of my goals this year. Great. The universe brought us together. What do you do for a living? She says what she does. And I said, such a special human, like always complimenting. And then I go in with the opportunity. I'm a health and wellness coach. Actually, I'm looking to expand my team and want to work with professional, ambitious, and compassionate individuals who want to help others. You seem like the perfect person. Would you be open to a conversation to see if this could be a fit? She's an open-minded individual. Great. Check mark number 1. That's who I want on my team. I don't want everyone. Sure, I'm open to that. Thank you for your kind words. It continues, whatever. And I actually think she didn't get back to me. Yes. So one follow-up I did. She didn't get back to me for 3 days. And then I followed up with her. And you can see like time just goes by naturally. And then we ended up meeting for an in-person conversation, and she signed up on the spot there to be a business partner, as well as to do the 30 Days to Healthy Living Challenge. Going back to Instagram. So this individual here, for example, she actually connected with me, and then I connected back with her. So I said, thank you for the connect. I'm very impressed with your career development path. I'm actually expanding my health and wellness team and would love to potentially connect regarding this part-time opportunity. For LinkedIn, I don't necessarily start conversations because it's more business focused. I get a ton of people reaching out to me for full-time. I'm in the consumer packaged goods world, so people reaching out to me about business opportunities. So I feel on LinkedIn, you don't have to necessarily start that small talk. You can more so go into the business opportunity. So I just reach out. I'm looking for ambitious, growth-minded professional individuals who are health conscious and looking for a second stream of income. If this is for you, would you be open for a 20-minute conversation? And then she responds back and says, I'm interested. Not everyone responds back. I'm going to go through the stats. And then those individuals that say they're not interested, I objection handle, and I try to spin it in a way that would work for them. Like if they say they're too busy, then you use that objection handling. And you just run through the conversation like that. This individual here, Alexandra, she actually jumped on the business after we had our meeting, but this one was a little bit more tailored to her. So she actually worked at my old company and we didn't cross paths, but I just connected and linked those dots, and the conversation was very seamless and easy with her. As you can see here, I'm not going to read it out, but pretty much I just go through, oh, you worked at very good food company, so did I. Question for you, I've recently started my own health and wellness business and was wondering if you would be interested in learning more about the opportunity and joining my team. So she responds back, that's fine. She actually, if you look at the dates here, this is quite interesting, and this is actually bad. I recommend people don't do this, but I reached out to her August 4th, okay? And then what happens here? Nothing happens. And then I reach out again, December 20th. So months and months and months go by. That's on me. I never followed up with her. She could have gone into the business in August if I followed up with her. So this is a great example of almost not what to do, what not to do. Yes. And then here you can see December 20th all the way to January 11th. The conversation just goes. It continues on February. She jumped on to a call last Tuesday and joined the business. So essentially, I should have followed up sooner and she could have been on my team a lot sooner. All right, my process. So before the meeting, obviously you connect them on LinkedIn, you connect with them on Instagram, and then I send them a calendar invite with a Zoom link, and I make sure they accept that invite. If they don't accept, in my mind, it's not a real appointment because you don't know if they're going to show up or not. Number 2 is send an email reminder a day before and remind them also on LinkedIn or Instagram. Like Sandy said, people aren't thinking about Arbonne or prioritizing Arbonne, and you have to be the one to be on top of them and follow up. Send an email reminder the morning of and remind them on LinkedIn and or Instagram as well. And then take the time and do your homework. People like when you actually know things about them. So what I do is I review their profile. I take notes on who the person is. I have the notes in front of me on the business call, and I try to understand what their pain point would be. And then of course, during the meeting, I let them actually tell me what their pain point is. And then the last one here, always going back to mindset, is fill your cup first. I listen to a lot of the 30-day hard training videos or motivational content to get my mind in the right space before the meeting. So my energy is driving the meeting as opposed to their energy driving the meeting. Okay, the process continued. I actually don't know what time it is. 20 after, okay. During the meeting, a couple of steps here. So before I ensure my attitude is in the right place, okay? I'm positive, I'm excited, and I'm happy. No matter what happened the last meeting, if the person was a no, if they didn't show up, I don't care. I let that go. and I reset my attitude for the next meeting. They deserve my undivided attention. Whatever just happened, I don't bring that into the next meeting. So how I start off every single meeting is I let them know what to expect, because that's what I appreciate. My mind is very A-type. I like to have an agenda. I like to know what's going on. So I give that to the person, whether they like it or not. So I just say within the next 35 minutes, this is what you can expect. I'm going to ask you a little bit about yourself. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then I'm going to go into the business opportunity. To put them at ease, I just say my intention obviously is to sign you up as a business partner, but no obligations on my end. If it's a fit, great. If not, just happy to connect. And then what I do is I ask all about them. I sit back and I listen. And I learned this on one of the 30 Hard about form. So ask them about their family, their occupation, the recreation, and the motivation. And I let them talk, and I'm writing notes to understand how this business would fit in their lifestyle. What are their pain points? And then I asked them, and I believe Sandy and Wade asks this question all the time too. So I think I got it from them. If money and time was not a thing, what would you do with your life? And that's when you really see where they want to go in life, if Arbonne could take them there. And you leverage that in your sales story, whatever you want to call it. And then I asked them, why did you decide to take this call with me? Just to build a little bit more rapport. I tell them about myself and who I am. And then I get into the business, and this thing is by my side, the 2-pager, constantly. I want to stay focused. I want to make sure I'm not blabbing and just, like barfing Arbonne. I want to make sure I'm being very value added, and it's an informal conversation back and forth. And then I try, Sandy and Wade do this as well. So I learned it from them, like on a scale of 1 to 10, after you're done pitching the business, you say to them, like 1 out of 10, 1 being, you wish you never had this conversation with me, 10 being, okay, I wish I was on your team yesterday. Where are you? And then you can understand where their mind is and how you can bring them up to a 10. This is a lot of also of Grant Cardone training that Sandy and Wade also are very familiar with. And then I mention how to get started. So 2 options. If they want to be a business partner, we recommend getting into the 30 Days to Healthy Living program. This is nothing new. This is taught by Sandy and Wade. Also, if the business is not for them, a preferred client option. And then you try to close them in the meeting. And I've had 2 closes so far, and that just feels like the best, on top of the world. Sign them up on the spot in the meeting. And then next steps, if you don't close them, then you set up a follow-up meeting in 24 to 48 hours. What I do is I get them to give me their cell phone information, because a lot of people want more information. They want to speak to their spouse. I get their cell phone information, I send them additional information, and then I put that calendar invite into the calendar. So the objective of that meeting is, Michelle, yes, I'm in. Michelle, no, I'm not in. Very black and white. I also sometimes send them a follow-up selfie, just thanking them when I send them a text message, just so they know who I am and it's familiar with my face. And what I have done, and I haven't done this with everyone because again, the pipeline is so big, but sometimes I like I've sent them a video of Sandy and Wade, just talking more about the business every single day. It doesn't even necessarily have to be about Arbonne, just something that's value add and something that keeps me top of mind. Last slide, guys. So this is my calendar back the Tuesday, whatever it was, February 7th. I had 12 one-on-one connects in a day, okay? Wade actually pointed this out to me. If you look here, all of the reds are people that were no-shows, people that rescheduled, people that were not interested, okay? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. If Wade didn't point that out, guys, I would have never even known. My mind was just so like, oh, holy shit, my day is packed. I just want to be intentional with the one person for the half an hour and then move on. I'm not attached to the outcome. And then if I stopped, if I quit, look what would have not happened, right? There were some greens in here. There was 2 individuals that joined in these greens. So again, it's all just looking at the bigger picture and knowing that Sandy always says this, the difference between her and myself, for example, is she got more no's, and no's are just part of it. It's nothing personal ever. So some stats here, I did about, and this is just rough, call it like 2-3 days because I'm in crazy mode right now. 200 reach outs, 75%, 75 people out of 200 people responded. That's 38%. The other peeps, I will follow up with them eventually. And then out of those 75 responses, 20 people have said yes. That's 27%. Now, 55 people out of the 200 said no to connecting. And then after I objection handled, 5 out of those 55 came back and said, you know what, yes, I will actually connect. And after connecting, the individuals that want more information via cell phone was 10 people out of the 20. So 50%. And then the number I closed, this is actually, it should be 2. I closed 2 people out of, for example, 75. So it just shows you that you have to siphon through, and one of the 30 hard individuals talked about this. It's almost like you're siphoning through rocks to find the gem. You have to be patient to find the individuals that are like-minded like yourself and who want to live an extraordinary life. This is my process. I clearly understand I'm crazy.
She's done.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Like, guys, can we give her a freaking round of applause? Like, my mind is blown. First of all, this is also why we started the call with talking about fortune is in the follow-up, right? Because it's easy to look at this and be like, wow, you did 200 reach outs and you only closed 2 people. You reached out and maybe did 1 follow-up. Imagine if you keep following up. Imagine when you get to that 5th, 6th, 7th follow-up and you build a relationship and you keep touching and loving on people and remembering that people's timing and circumstances change. There's some of you on this call right now that maybe we were friends in real personal life for a year or 2 or 3 or 5 before you ever even locked arms with me in Arbonne. You had to watch me for a while, right? That's going to happen. So it's like, this is pretty impressive this is for February 7th and it's like the 13th. It's been 6 days. There's some people that are on vacation that haven't even seen your message yet, you know? So
Yes.
It's like, this is freaking amazing.
I want to empower you. So 2 out of 200. So 1% actually joined your team, but the seed has been planted with a lot more than that. And you've presented the business, and timing is a factor too. Some people are going to be in the time of their life. They're like, yep, ready right now. Other people might need to see you, watch you, might take those multiple follow-ups. It might, you be checking in on them. Yeah, some people might respond later when they see it. Like, you never know, but you're planting the seeds. I remember when Mich and I first started holding each other accountable and setting our daily activity, she sent 100 reach outs one day. And I'm like, I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh gosh, let me make sure I'm steering the ship right here. Like because if you're just finding 100 random people on Instagram that you have no connection with and just cold messaging them, that is a strategy, but it's hard to do. And there's usually there's not intention there as much. It's just like, oh, I got to do my reach outs, whatever. It's funny. I would send my 5 reach outs, 5 follow-ups. I'd be like, all right, I got a full journal for the day. She sends 100 reach outs, 20 or 50 follow-ups. And I was like, oh my. And then it comes back to this morning on book club. We talked about capacity is just in your mind. Like, we often think I don't have capacity to do other things. I'm a parent. I work full time. I this, I that. We're all busy, right? You raise your own capacity. Once it raises, when you're like, I need to do this, or I'm going to do this, you can just choose to raise your capacity. So this has been in my gut and on my heart for a week. I actually want to follow in Mich's footsteps because I have a big Facebook following, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. And when I say big, even if it's hundreds of people, or I bet between Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all you guys have over 1,000 contacts. And it's like, oh my gosh, I have 1,000 people I could intentionally connect with. And I remember when she was like, we talked and I'm like, are you being intentional here? And she was like, yes, but I probably could be more. And now she's super intentional with all of her connections. Incredible. What I also want to say is some people, this is going to overwhelm what Mich just showed us because your brain doesn't work that way. Mine does. So I totally appreciate the presentation. It was amazing. I love that you did it with no special effects or anything because it shows it's duplicatable, it's basic, but it does show the numbers. Sandy always says this business is part magic and part math. And here I'm going to spotlight both of us. And it's so true because there are really How do I
you
add?
can 'cause she's
Oh,
the host.
we got to
All good.
reclaim hosts. There are really like two ways to think about it. Like some people are type A, kind of like what Mich was just showing, where like you can totally do that and you're going to, and some people that scares because you're like, my brain does not work that way. How the heck could I do that? And Sandy, like, and I are so different. My brain does work that way. Sandy's might not, but I
I'm
want.
very impressed by that, and I personally will not be downloading that app and doing that. It's just not my system.
But I want to challenge you guys, even if it makes you nervous or overwhelmed or uncomfortable, like maybe lean into it because
Yeah.
this business is part. Who are you? Your mindset, attraction, and what energy are you putting out there? And it's part like, okay, what actual activity am I doing? Am I tracking it? Am I doing stuff like this? So it's a tool for everyone to use.
Does anyone have any questions for Mish while she's here